How concerned are you in future years due to the maintenance schedules of the vehicles of today? Could you see it being a barrier to getting cars in the future?
So what I'm worried about from the cars that are actually being made today is the quality and how much worse it is. And we know that over the last few years, there were actually cars that were put into the marketplace that were rushed to get out because we had such a production problem. We have chip shortages. We have cars that were built 2 and 3 years ago that have buttons saying that they have an accessory, something like heated seats, but they didn't have the chips to actually put in for the heated seats. So what I worry about is in 10 years from now, when we're buying and selling used cars, is that okay? We see a car that's got heated seats on it, and we want to buy it, and we think it's got everything, all the functionality that needs to have, and it never had the heated seats to begin with. So that's going to be a big problem when it comes to the used car space. For me, I can see in the future. And then just to add on to that, the quality that we see coming out of a lot of these manufacturers now, the amount of recalls, it seems like it's the most recalls I've ever had to report on, and even hear about in the 14 years that I've been in this car market. It's worse and worse and worse. It seems like every quarter. And you have manufacturers like Ford that say, okay, we know this is a problem. We know warranty spend is a problem, and we're addressing it. We're addressing it like this. And it seems like every time they come up with a fix for what they're going to do for these recalls, that it just keeps getting worse. So I don't know if it's a problem with manufacturing getting quicker, if they're trying to cut a lot of corners. I don't know if it's a labor problem. I don't know if it's a parts problem. I don't know if it's a cut the quarter problem. I don't know if it's a greed problem, because they're just trying to get the worst product, the cheapest product that they can make out for the most expensive price. Is probably all of the above, right? So this is something that we're going to have to deal with for the next 10, the next 15 years. And in my case, the cars that I buy that are $5,000 and under, obviously 10 years from now, I'm probably not going to be the car dealer that sells cars $5,000 and under, because $5,000 and under cars aren't going to exist. But I'm dealing with cars that are 15 years old, 20 years old, is my most common range of vehicle that I'm going to have on my lot for my price range. And so this is an issue that I'm going to be dealing with for the next 10, 15 years, for these manufacturers that are making junk cars right now. And if it's the case where these cars won't last 10 years, then my business won't exist in 10 years, because I live off used vehicles that have been driven for the last 10, 15 years, and then people trade them in, and that's how I buy my vehicles. But if these cars won't last 10, 15 years, then you're going to have an issue where used car dealers like me, we're not going to be able to make money, because there's not going to be cars available, because all the cars that they're making right now, they might be throwaway cars in the next 10 years. Now, time will only tell what's going to happen with these vehicles, but it seems like the quality is very, very bad right now, and it's only getting worse. And as prices, as parts and everything get more expensive, as margins have to shrink, and as affordability continues to get worse, then there's going to be more corners cut. So I don't see an end to this anytime soon. And I feel like I have grandpa syndrome all the time when I'm looking at these cars now, because what do you hear from your grandfather? What I've heard from my grandfather? Well, they don't make things how they used to make them. It's absolutely true. I mean, you can go back in you still see Toyota Camrys from the 90s that are going around driving strong, got 350,000 miles. There's no scenario that I see tons and tons of 2015 and 16 cars that have 350,000 miles on them right now, and it's almost like it's commonplace for those mid 90s cars to last a really long time. And the newer that the cars have gotten since then, it seems like their motors, their transmissions don't last as long as the ones that were made there. And things were made a lot more simple then, so maybe that was the answer. Keep on putting more sensors, more things. Now the government is going to regulate a lot of things that a lot of these cars have to have. When you bring into emissions, you just bring in more things into these cars that make them break. And eventually, as things get more expensive and more expensive to fix, then a lot of people will opt to just buy a new car then fix them, and a lot of those cars end up going to the junkyard. So this is another that's a cultural thing that can happen with a lot. I mean, you don't fix a lot of stuff anymore. You throw it away and get a new one, right? So this is only sets up for a worse environment for used car dealers just like myself going down the road 10, 15 years from now.
Thoughts on a used Nissan Altima 2015?
Nope. Next question.
Come on.
No, I don't want anything Nissan that has a CVT in it, and I mean, there's just like even like 2010, 2015. I think they're roughly the same. There might have been a body style change in there, but the CVTs are absolute garbage. I can tell you that like a 2012 to 2015 Nissan Altima with the same mileage as a 2006 Nissan Altima is going to go for roughly the same amount of money at auction. I know that seems ridiculous, but I'll explain. From 2002 to 2006, Nissan Altimas had regular transmissions, gear shifting transmissions. Those were actually very good cars, the 4-cylinder ones. Dealers just like myself know this. There's so many dealers out there that have been burnt from 2007 and up Nissan Altimas that they're just hands off. So that 2006 Nissan Altima with a similar amount of mileage as that 2015, that's why they go for a very close amount of money, because we know all these dealers that I'm bidding up against, the 2007 and up Nissan Altimas, absolute garbage, and nobody wants to touch them. No, I would never buy one of these Nissans with a CVT. Absolute trash, and I don't want you to buy one, because even if it feels good today, they can go just like this too. I've been burned quite a few times. I don't know that I've ever bought a Nissan Altima over 2007 and not end up either buying it back from the customer or just sending it back to auction, because it was just absolute garbage of a transmission.
I own a 2016 Yukon Denali, 110 on the dash, and owe $12,000.
You're asking the wrong person, because I don't like any debt on any vehicle. I would say if you have a car payment, you're not in a good position. I would rather you not have a car payment. Now let's look. So you probably can't fix that, because you're probably asking me this because you don't have $12,000 to put on this vehicle to stop having car payments. 2016 Denali, it's got 110,000 miles. I mean, you owe $12,000, so you're not upside down on this vehicle. It's probably still worth $20K would be my guess. This is not something I'm an expert in, so take this with a grain of salt. So you're fine if you're talking about how much you owe versus how much the car is worth, but you've already paid a lot for it, I'm assuming. But if the question ever starts out with, I have a car payment, am I in a good position? My answer would be no. And what I would do if I were you, if I don't have $12,000 to pay off this loan, is I would sell the Yukon. I would use the money that you get. I would pay off the loan, obviously, and then the money that you have left over, I would buy something in cash so you don't have a car payment. That would be the route that I would take. But I am the no car payment guy.
I think it's important to add to it, and I think you leave this off too much, is that once you get rid of that car payment, pay yourself a car payment, a certain amount that goes into a savings account, and then you're covered if a repair comes up.
I don't think you necessarily have to pay yourself a car payment every single month. I think if you have a car emergency fund, like worst case, you find out what's the worst case scenario that's going to be on your car. We'll use the example of that Denali motor. Transmission is going to be a little bit cheaper than motor, but motor is going to be the worst possible scenario, and you can probably get a motor put in for $5,000. So I would want to have that $5,000 buffer. And if nothing goes wrong with the car, if you have that $5,000 buffer, I don't want to keep just putting money into that account, because it's not necessary unless you're saving up for your next car. And then that would be the argument for continuously putting money in that car fund or whatever. But as long as you have that emergency fund set at whatever the worst case scenario is, then you're never going to be in a crisis mode. You're never going to be in a desperation mode where something breaks on that car. Then you have to tap into credit cards. You have to tap into selling something that you don't want to sell to be able to fix something, or you don't have to tap into, okay, this car's just got to sit for a while I'll take some Ubers to get to work. I don't want you in that situation, but the way to stay out of that situation is to not have car payments to begin with, and then make sure you have that car emergency fund set to the side. So if something does pop up, you can fix it.
Yeah, I mainly just meant some saving some money put aside so that it's not an issue, because a lot of people hear, well, you buy a $5,000 car and you're going to, have this. It's not like you don't pay anything afterwards. It's going to be important no matter what you have to have an emergency fund, whether it's for job loss, unexpected expenses, or a car repair. It doesn't matter specifically what it's for.
And a lot of people don't understand that even though you have a $5,000 car, you're not going to have to put $1,000 in this thing every month. I see comments so many times where they're like, okay, yeah, I could buy a $4,000 car, but I'm going to have to put $10,000 in it. No, that's not how it works. You don't put more money in the car than what the car is actually worth. So my wife and I, it had to be 7-8 years, we both drove cars that we would sell on our car lot. And my wife had a Honda. We paid, I think, $2,200-$2,300 for this Honda. She drove it for 3 years. We had to fix 2 CV axles. Both of them were like $250 a piece. And that's the only thing other than regular maintenance that we had to do on that car. Other than that, she had a GMC Yukon. We didn't have to do anything to that car. Years and years and years, we drove all these kinds of vehicles that we would sell on our lot. So they were like $2,000, $3,000 cars. We never had a major repair on any of these cars. So you don't have to buy a $5,000 car and then continuously put money into it. You need to check out the car before you buy it. Get it checked out. That's so important. But you're not going to have to it's not going to nickel and dime you to death. You don't have to keep putting money. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. And people who continuously buy new cars and think that's the only way, they see these $3,000 cars and they're like, you're just going to have to continuously put money into it. It's not the case. You don't have to do that.